Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, there's been a lot of pressure on the CDC right now and some interesting things have come out, and even Norwegian Cruise Line and some senators are going, can you just answer some questions please? So you remember a little while back I showed you that clip of the Dr. Walensky with the CDC talking and being asked the question from an Alaska representative what the timeline is. Can you give us any timeline for cruising? What's going on? And Dr. Walensky basically said, well, I can't give you a timeline because it's an interdepartmental thing. It's not a CDC thing. We're not the only ones making that decision, so we can't really tell you what it is. And then the senator said, well, we're going to be talking again a little bit later, and I got some more questions to ask you at that point. I'm sure you'll be able to be more clear on that. Well, apparently they did have that conversation last week, and the representative came out and said, you know what, to be all honesty, I don't think Dr. Walensky has a clue about cruising and the situation with cruising. Not a clue. There's a surprise. She's not a cruiser. She's not a sailing expert. She doesn't know. She's a doctor. That's it. That's all she is, an infectious disease doctor. So she has no idea of cruising, and they have not been paying attention to all the good things that have been happening in cruising everywhere else in the world, pretty much ignoring it all and just sticking to their guns of stuff that was made a year ago, pretty much. So yeah, those are pretty harsh words coming from, they were very, very polite in that meeting I showed you on the channel, but that doesn't seem like they're being as polite anymore when they actually come out and say, she has no clue about cruising, no clue about the situation. That's not good. Because she's in charge of the CDC, who's in charge of cruising. So yeah, that's not good. And then, 2 weeks ago now, we had Norwegian Cruise Line CEO Frank Del Rio said, hey, CDC, tell us why our opening, what we want to do with vaccines and all this other stuff, all of our healthy sail panel and all of our recommendation and our protocols and all that. Tell us why that's unsafe to cruise, but you're opening up international travel on airlines and stuff like that. But you haven't told us why ours is not as safe as what you're asking us to do. He sent out a letter. It's been over 2 weeks now, and he just asked again. He sent another reminder letter to the CDC saying, by the way, you still haven't responded to my first letter. Please tell us what's going on. At least come up with a reason why yours is better than us. Respond to our letter. And that's been the problem since day one. Every single person who has been talking with the cruise lines, the CDC, can't get an answer. Cannot get an answer to what's going on. Look at when they came up with the framework for sailing and said, oh, by the way, you have to do this for your cruises, your crew and everything. We got the red, yellow, green, and once they're all green, then we'll issue guidance for reopening. Well, the cruise lines had them green within 30 days. All the ships right across were green. Remember, we were saying, oh, I guess we're going to see test cruises anytime now. And it took them 5 months to come out with part of the Part 2 guidance that still has no clear dates, that still has no clear guidance in what exactly they want the cruise lines to do, or what they have to do to actually open and start sailing. Nothing. That's the answers they're getting from the CDC. They're not getting any answers. They're getting documents and nothing. No one can tell them anything. No one can say, tell us exactly what we have to do, because the CDC doesn't care. and they don't want to be responsible for opening up cruising. That's the only reason. That's it. They have no clue what's going on. Well, you know what? We see, we'll get back to you. That's always their answer. We'll get back to you on that. The very first thing when all this happened back in March, the CDC demanded that the cruise lines get their conditions for handling crew and getting crew off and on the ships. They wanted procedures within 7 days. Get it to us within 7 days. Do it. The cruise lines did it. They had the plan. They laid it out. 7 days they did that. How long did it take the CDC to respond? 16 weeks. It took the CDC to respond to their demanded guidelines 16 weeks. That's the problem. The CDC is not working with the cruise lines. The CDC is working against the cruise lines, and people are finally starting to notice that. Even the senator in Alaska said they have no clue about cruises. She has no clue. The head of the CDC has no clue. Frank Del Rio saying, can you answer me? I've asked you something. Can you answer me? But no, they don't. They just issue another warning about cruise ships. For God's sake, people fleeing lava and ash in a volcano, they put a warning up saying that careful, if you're evacuating on the cruise ship, it could be dangerous. How incompetent and stupid is that warning? And I can feel my blood pressure rising as I speak, because it is getting to be very, very frustrating. The CDC is becoming the worst government department to try and get an answer from in North America. They are the slowest at reacting, and they are the slowest at responding. And it seems like they don't know what they're talking about as much as they know what they're talking about. Right? It's becoming ridiculous. In one breath, they say you can jump on an airplane and travel to a cruise ship and take that cruise and fly back to the United States. You don't need the test. You don't need the quarantine. You just need your vaccine. But by the way, if you're vaccinated, you can't get on a cruise ship from this port. Over there is okay, but here you can't. Doesn't make sense. Their own arguments don't make sense. So there we go. As always, CDC, we're waiting. And I guess we're just going to keep waiting and waiting and waiting. Well, I hope you appreciate that video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel blogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.